torn by invisible lines. Lines that divide families, neighbors, and once shared dreams. The pursuit of peace, shattered by borders drawn not by unity or humanity interests, but by conflict, ego, and greed.
Over 100 million lives have been lost in wars over the last century. Each life, a world of its own, extinguished in the name of territory, power, or pride. And still, the cycle continues. The Great War was supposed to end all wars, but it didn't. More than 16 million lives were sacrificed on the battlefield, each one a son, a father, a brother. And yet, humanity had not learned. Only 2 decades later, an even darker chapter began.
World War II, 75 million lives lost. Fathers, mothers, children, gone in the blink of an eye. The horrors of war are etched into history, sometimes triggered by single, devastating moments. One such moment occurred on December 7th, 1941, when the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor shook the United States. The quiet calm of a Sunday morning was shattered by the thunder of bombs, pulling America into the global conflict of World War II. The aftermath was swift and brutal, as the Pacific Ocean became a theater of relentless battles between nations.
But Pearl Harbor was only the beginning of a chain of events that culminated in one of the darkest chapters of human history. Fast forward to August 6, 1945, Hiroshima. In retaliation, the United States dropped the first atomic bomb, a force so incomprehensible that it vaporized the city in seconds. Over 140,000 lives were lost, not just in an instant, but in the slow suffering that followed from radiation.
The bombing of Hiroshima was seen by some as a necessary response to Pearl Harbor, a swift end to the war, but in unleashing such unimaginable destruction, it revealed a deeper truth about human conflict. Once nations are locked in power struggles and consumed by egos, the path forward leads only to endless cycles of violence, with no return to peace.
A short time ago, an American airplane dropped one bomb on Hiroshima and destroyed its usefulness to the enemy. That bomb has more power than 20,000 tons of TNT. The Japanese began the war from the air at Pearl Harbor. they have been repaid manyfold, and the end is not yet. With this bomb, we have now added a new and revolutionary increase in destruction to supplement the growing power of our armed forces.
Peace did not come, even after such horror. Instead, humanity built more weapons, more bombs, and turned entire regions into battlegrounds once again. War is not always fought between distant enemies. Too often, it is neighbors, people who once lived side by side, who turn against each other. Look at India and Pakistan, two nations born from the same land, but divided by a border drawn in blood. Since their separation in 1947, they have fought 4 wars. Over 1 million lives were lost in the partition alone, and the conflict over Kashmir continues to claim lives on both sides. But there's a paradox. While the governments of India and Pakistan wage wars and stoke tension, the people share a cultural bond. In Pakistan, millions flock to watch Bollywood movies, enjoying the music and stories that transcend borders. At the heart of these conflicts lies something deeper, an economic struggle. Wars are not fought solely with guns and bombs. They are fought in boardrooms, in trade deals, and in the pursuit of control over resources. And it is the ordinary people who pay the price.
The conflict in Syria, over 500,000 lives lost. Not because of religious differences, but for power, for oil, for influence. Yemen too has become a battleground, not just for soldiers, but for the starving children who face a slow, agonizing death from famine, a byproduct of war driven by economic and geopolitical interests. The pursuit of wealth, resources, and influence has led to the destruction of millions of lives. What was once a global dream of prosperity has turned into a nightmare for so many.
Amid the devastation and endless cycles of war, there is one group that profits immeasurably: the defense contractors.
These companies thrive on conflict, supplying the weapons, the machinery, the very tools that fuel wars. With every conflict, their profits soar. In the United States alone, the defense industry is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. But this isn't just about defense. It's about overcharging, inflating contracts, and plundering taxpayer money to build weapons that may never be used. Or worse, weapons that will be used to destroy more lives.
In 2021, it was revealed that defense contractors had been overcharging the Pentagon, in some cases by as much as 1,000%. These corporations exploited their power to build the American government, and by extension the taxpayer, at exorbitant rates for services and equipment that were grossly inflated in value. Despite this staggering abuse of public funds, the Kamala Biden administration turned a blind eye, failing to curb the rampant price gouging that drained billions from the nation's resources. While millions of dollars are funneled into bloated defense contracts, ordinary Americans continue to struggle to afford basic necessities like healthcare, education, and housing. Under the neglect of the current administration, the real beneficiaries of these endless wars are not the people, but the corporations that profit from war's machinery.
The weapons of war are not only killing those on the battlefield, they are slowly bleeding the very soul of our nation. Every dollar spent on overpriced missiles, tanks, and guns is a dollar stolen from the future of a child, the health of a mother, and the education of the next generation. And yet, the Kamala Biden administration fails to act, leaving Americans to pay the ultimate price.
Conflicts, once local, now draw in superpowers, each with their own agenda. Wherever we look, we see conflict: wars over land, wars over power, and wars over resources. No matter how advanced our technology becomes, no matter how interconnected our world grows, the divisions between us remain. And with each war, another generation grows up in fear, not hope,
Every life lost in war is a future stolen. Every child who grows up in fear is a dream shattered. The cost of war is not measured in dollars or land. It is measured in the human spirit that we lose, piece by piece, with every conflict.
In times of global conflict, the world has often looked to America for leadership, just as in the movie Independence Day, where America united nations to fight a common enemy and bring about peace.
Today, as the American people prepare to elect the leader of the free world, they must recognize that only Donald J. Trump holds the vision and strength to elevate America once again to its rightful role as the global peacemaker. He alone has the potential to end pointless wars, refocus on the welfare of Americans, and champion the collective good of nations worldwide. With leadership grounded in strength and mutual respect, Trump can restore the glory and honor of the United States, making it once more a beacon of hope and peace. Without this kind of leadership, without a Trump-led government, the world risks spiraling further into chaos and endless conflict, with no return to peace.
Words should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interest. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July, and you will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.